Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessings, blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
All right. Grand Thursday to everyone. Real exciting for a couple of days. Is really excited to be here with every one of you. I am Roderick Daly. I am your host. Join with me our executive producer, Andre Doman, our co-hostess, Dr. Joanne Bryant. Thank you for watching, sharing, participating in the Village, where we are dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us to realize our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. Where success is not just spoken, it is done. Dr. Brian, let's start with you. I see you have a little bump in the hair. You got your hair up today. It's not down. What's going on? You feeling a little frisky today? Is that it? What's going on? How you doing?
It's always good to feel frisky, baby. How are you?
Yeah,
good
right.
Evening.
Yeah, right. You feel frisky. Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is great to be back with you all on this fabulous Thursday. Wow. Can you believe it? We only have 2 more Thursdays, this and next one, and the June season begin. Countdown to June, baby. That's all I'm thinking about. June, birthday month.
Excuse me. I don't know about counting out to June for people who have to work through July and August, right? Not because you're in education and you might get a few weeks off. You are
don't have a few weeks off. What are you talking about? I have graduation, big graduation happening.
Well, you're gonna spend some money. That's your problem. That's what
child is turning 18. So a lot's happening. I'm like, whoo.
I hope that you plan to get your son some birthday gift and a party and get him something to drink.
There's no drinking. My daughter's having the party. My son don't want no party.
I hope you have your son something to drink, right?
No, he's gonna have some soda.
No, he can have some Baileys. He's 18. You're such a damn. I would hate for you to be my parent.
It's okay.
You sound like my actual parent.
It's all right.
You know, if I have a glass of wine, my mother thinks I'm an alcoholic. A glass of wine. That's exactly what she thinks. I'm an alcoholic with a glass of wine. Apparently, you follow along with my mother's span. Andre.
What's good?
Dr. Brian.
Hey, Andre.
Hello, everybody.
Dr. Brian, terrible parent. Yeah. And I'm glad Tracy's not on yet to come tell you how much of a great
never
parent.
Ever say I'm a terrible parent.
Terrible parent. Overprotective.
Yeah.
Andre.
What's good, everybody?
Whatever you do, right? Don't follow parenthood from Dr. Brian. Whatever you do, don't.
Hey, I'm not getting into that.
I'm absolutely get into that.
Listen to you all.
Talk
Andre,
trash.
I know I asked you a question, how you doing, but before we do that, just want to send a belated birthday shout out to our Stillwater counterpart, who are a part of our sponsor, our partner, Felicia Cawthon. It's her birthday this week.
Felicia!
She turned the big 5-0, and I'm putting it out there because it's in our group chat that she turned the big 5-0. So happy birthday to you. So Andre, I wanted to say something about the big 5-0, but let's go back to Andre. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Good to be here. Good to see another day, and just really being thankful.
Amen to that. And you know what? The season yesterday was it felt fabulous. Today is feeling good. The summer is here, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I care about. The summer. I'm sorry for the winter babies. I'm sorry. We're ready.
Listen, go away. The winter babies, we can go skiing and have fun and travel. During our winter months, traveling is cheap. During your months, traveling is expensive, right?
Okay. But we lay on the beach. We lay out.
Okay, so we could go someplace. Cruises are cheap. I know in January, cruises are cheap. Traveling is cheap. So I'm not even worried about that. You take care of your own. By the way, before I forget, before you say anything, today's show is around helping you mentally, right? And what does that look like? So that's how we're starting off. That's how we're talking about vacation and some other things that we're going to talk about. That's going to deal with your mental health. Our guest, Deborah, when she comes on, she's also going to address the mental health and some of the things that you can do to help with your mental health. So today's show is around mental health. So what are you doing to do it mentally? So I'm going to start with saying the winter is the bomb because you have options. You have cheap travel.
Oh, Lord.
Right? You have cheap travel. Let me say it one more time. You have cheap travel. You have
but you might get snowed out. So tell me about what travel ideas are available right now.
So I'm not gonna suggest anybody to go away this weekend. I think we should think about a staycation. Go to the beach, go hang out, take your family to a picnic, go to the park, watch a baseball game, a basketball game, whatever your interests are. Go take in a play. This week I went to Broadway, and
how was that?
I saw Lion King this week. It was pretty good. My son plays baseball, so we get a chance to go to baseball. I'm actually traveling to go to baseball this week. But there are a lot of things that we can do. The upstate New York, which is not far, you have Bear Mountain. You can go on the mountain, go camping. You could go to you could go log. Like I went to I went to St. George's, right? And upstate New York, the Adirondacks. There are a lot of places in the Adirondacks to go. Maryland, the Jersey Shore, driving distance, couple of hours, where you're not, if you pack up your family, like I have a large family. So and you have a large family yourself. It's not just you traveling, it's a family of 3. You cut down flight expenses by a few $100s because right now the flights are ridiculous. Amtrak is ridiculous. So you jump in your car, you drive 3 hours, you fill up 2 tanks of gas, food, you book your hotel on Expedia or one of those sites, and you go someplace next to the beach, go hang out. Don't do very far because when you come back on Monday night, Sunday night, you're traveling expensive. So ideas, Jersey Shore, Maryland, DC area, Virginia Beach, upstate New York, the Adirondacks. If you're into camping, if you go into White River rafting, if you're into bike riding, those fun things, just walking around. This weekend is the sailors coming into Manhattan for Fleet Week, right? So you can go in and enjoy that. There's so many things you can do, right, without leaving the country, without even going more than 5 hours, right? Make sure you travel late in the evening or early in the morning. Don't travel midday because then you get hit the rush hour traffic and everybody leaving work. So you want to travel early or late. You got to make sure you travel early.
You're talking about tomorrow. You're talking about Friday.
And in general, even Saturday, because some people are leaving on Saturday. So you want to leave early or late, but never in the middle because you don't want to hit rush hour traffic, right? That's the basic travel scheme that you want to do when you're traveling. You know, so and plan around an extra hour and a half of traveling. Like you plan around that, right? Because everybody's traveling. They expected travel to be in and out of the city to about 6.5 million people will be traveling this weekend in and out of New York City. So
you know what? That just the thought of you hearing about traffic is stressing me out.
No, but it depends on how far you're going, right? If you like at the airport, you need to put in extra time for if you're going to Kennedy, because now they're redoing Kennedy here in New York. LaGuardia looks great but it took them 7 years.
Yes,
right. So if you around the world, in the United States, they expect something close to about 50 million people to travel
this weekend.
But this weekend, so people are traveling. Let's not be fooled. People are traveling. They are doing stuff. I know for a fact that I'm traveling this weekend.
Where are you going to?
Not everybody, but a lot of the families travel. Grayson has a baseball game. He's playing at the Cal Ripken down there in Maryland. So if you're in Maryland, he's Aberdeen. He's going to be in Aberdeen, Maryland, close to Baltimore, to play. So some of us are traveling to go and watch him play. So, Andre, anything you want to add to traveling? Dr. Brian, are you looking forward to travel? Do you plan to travel for this weekend?
I do. I might take a quick road trip on Sunday. So
well, that's not traveling this weekend. Sunday, that's not a travel.
Yeah, Sunday to Monday. That's fine. That's part of the weekend.
Well, that's true. Go to. Oh, you know what else? Go to Planet Barbecue.
Planet Barbecue? Where's that?
Yeah, you can plan a barbecue. Go to a friend's barbecue.
Oh, you said. Oh, I thought you said Planet Barbecue. I'm like, where's that?
I went to Planet Barbecue. Where's that at?
Planet Barbecue. You
said it so quick. I'm like, where's that?
Man. we gotta go to Mars, right? We gotta go to our guests is in the back just laughing at you with your Planet Barbecue.
You said Planet Barbecue. I'm like,
plan a barbecue.
We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes before guess it's time.
Oh, 7:30 already. Andre, you have anything you want to add, or?
I mean, summer coming up. Start planning. Plan weeks, months ahead, right? So that way you can start really finding deals, discounts, and going back to Roger's comment. As teachers, when we get the holidays, it's so expensive. So in a sense, you have to plan around those holidays, but planning ahead always is always good, right?
I want to share a quick story. So I'm planning on going away some personal time, right, with the wife. And so I'm going to share a story, what Andre is saying. That's very, very important.
In the background.
Right. What happened?
I said, they were just smiling in the background. I know she itching to get on. So,
oh, yeah.
So after
you can tell your story later.
No. Let me tell the story because it's helpful with the mental health, with what's going on, right? With Andre saying, I just want to make sure I follow because I don't want to forget. So I wanted to go with the third week in June, right? The weekend, I think that's maybe Father's Day weekend or whatever the case is, right? So I wanted to go away, right?
Our birthday weekend. Your
birthday weekend. Yeah. Whatever. Well, move on. I'm not talking about your birthday. The point was that the difference in travel, right? The difference in travel in that weekend and the difference in travel the weekend before was significantly different in price and in points, right? If you have points, significantly. So if you plan ahead, like Andre said, you might get a deal. Right. So plan ahead. I mean, like literally the difference in points was 21,000 points. Just one weekend.
Well, yeah, points is good too.
Right. 1 weekend closer. So I'm just telling you guys, Andre, it's not wrong. It's not like you don't know you're going on vacation. You already know. So make the plans. Start preparing. We're going away for another thing and we planned already. The same ticket, $800. Right now to fly, the same ticket that we bought at about 50% of that price. So it's important. Let's bring on our guest. Planning is important. What is it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
All right. Hold on. Commercial first, and then we bring the guest on.
Not a problem.
All right. Let's go.
Footprints Cafe Fridays now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouth-watering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions. Real estate simplified.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros because a successful business matters. U.S. Spirit LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call U.S. Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs and U.S. Spirit LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number?
Yes!
Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call U.S. Spirit LLC or log on to www.usspirit.com. Team up for success.
On the air. I call you back.
Hello, Debbie.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear
It's
me?
Deborah Dejean.
Hi.
Let me try to pronounce it.
Yes, Dejan.
Let me try to pronounce it with the French accent. You know. How you doing? Welcome to the.
You can pronounce it. I am doing great. It's so good to see you guys and be here. I'm backstage cracking up, laughing. I feel right at home.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, Debbie, welcome. Welcome.
Good to be here. You guys are hilarious. This right here is mental health. Just talking.
Roderick and Joanne, they're the comedians, man. You know, so I sit back, laugh with them.
Please.
Joanne.
Andre, would you actually, you know what? I will introduce you, Deborah. So I don't know. You want me to call you Deborah or Debbie? I'm used to Debbie. So it's up to you.
It's fine. Debbie is fine. A lot of people call me Debbie. That's fine.
Okay. So
Debbie, if she can call you Debbie, call her Juju. Okay.
Okay. That's a new one for me. I will be calling you Joanne. All right.
No, we gonna call her Juju though. Don't worry about it. All right.
you know what? Introduce, because I was gonna be so as kind as to introduce you, but I want you to introduce yourself to our listeners because I have some choice words for Roderick, so I'm gonna stay silent for mental health, my mental health.
For mental health reasons.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Deborah Dejan. I am a licensed mental health counselor and a national counselor, certified counselor. I'm also a guidance counselor in the New York City public school system for over 20 years. So I've been doing this for a long time. And I'm happy to be here. You guys need a couch set up. You need to be like a couch, and we all just need to be sitting on the couch. That's what it feels like.
Listen,
I need to be on the couch personally because I have to deal with Dr. Bryant all day, you know, so I have to sit in the couch. I have a question. What's an international counselor? What is that?
It's just certified all over nationally.
Well, you said
As a
international.
counselor.
Does that mean that you can?
No, national, not international. National.
Okay, I thought I heard international.
Certified.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
no,
good.
not
So did you have to
international.
take a test for that? How did you become nationally certified?
Well, you apply for it, but to be a licensed mental health counselor, you have to take an exam. And then to be national, you just basically you pay and you have all your credentials already. So you have to be a licensed mental health counselor first before you can be, of course, national.
Got you. All right. I appreciate that.
and
you
you
know,
got some key things. You own a couple of different things,
Yes,
and you're
I'm also the creator of What You're Thinking conversation cards that I will show as we move on. Maybe I can read a few of them that are my favorites. And they're created for adolescents to have conversations, you know, just start conversations with parents, educators, and therapists, actually. But we'll get into that a little later.
I need some therapy to deal with Roderick. So how do we start with that?
This looks like a lot of fun. I think I can be your therapist that comes on, look, and gives you guys some counseling in real time. I like it. I like it.
Listen. She needs to be on the couch. Okay, she has a lot of mental health issue dealing with herself.
Look,
and then she brings us into it.
I think we all do.
We just, it's our secret though. We're not letting anybody know. It's just our secret.
Listen,
we don't want to talk about her so she can hear.
We all need our personal mental health counselor handy, right? I think everybody needs counseling. It should be free of charge.
I'm glad you said that, right? Because a lot of times, I mean, let's be a little bit serious. A lot of times we talk about this a lot on the show, and I have to give kudos to Dr. Bryant, right? This is her baby, right? It's her baby. Not that none of us on the show value mental health, but it's her baby because she brings it up regularly because we have to take care of ourselves, right? And a lot of times people look to us for that relief, right? And we often ourselves, because we're so used to people relying on us for support, we don't often think about that we might need mental health. We might need that support as well. And there's more questions, but I'm gonna start with the easier question, right? Which is, what inspired you to get into the mental health field?
It's such a good question. It's just my love of children. I originally wanted to be an attorney, and then I realized that I wanted to help families because I worked for ACS for 6 years before I did any of this. And I realized that those attorneys don't make much money and they're very stressed out. So then I switched my field because I wanted to help kids. And I switched my field to counseling in the schools. And as I was I needed someone. I had a sister or someone who can guide me. And a lot of kids don't. And my passion for kids, that's really what drove me to it. And then once I got into schools, I realized, okay, so once you're a guidance counselor, you're only locked into New York City into the school system. So I went back to become a licensed mental health counselor so that I can have my own practice and do more work for the community outside.
Got you. And tell us about, today I did Career Day. So
did you do Career Day? That's great.
Yeah, I actually did one today. I did one last week, one today, and I have one more next week.
Good. They need to see that.
And so tell us about the path, the road that you took to becoming. So start us from the beginning. You're doing Career Day. Start us from the beginning, college, etc. What those things. Let's start from the beginning.
So getting your bachelor's, and then as a therapist, you need to have your master's in education. I didn't add those credentials up there, but my master's in education and counseling, and that's how you get into the school system. And then from there, I went back to school to get my license in mental health counseling. You become a mental health counselor, and then eventually you have to get a certain amount of hours. It's 3,000 hours to become a licensed mental health counselor, and an exam. that you have to pass.
And how long have you been doing it?
Now it's been about 20 years, 18 to 20 years. In the school system, I made 20 years this January.
Okay.
And probably mental health, it's probably about 18 to 20, somewhere in
You went back to school.
Owning your own business? How
Yes.
long? How
I
many
own
years?
my own practice. My practice, I started officially like when you get an LLC in 2019, but I was doing it way before then. But to have my own practice, I started in 2019, which is Bloom Mental Health Counseling. That's the
Okay.
name of my practice. Yes.
Tell me, I'm like I said, I did Career Day. So tell us what you like about your job. I think you touched on it a little bit earlier in your conversation. You're at elementary school and they're asking all these questions. Tell us what.
Oh no, I'm at a middle school and high school.
No. I'm
Yes,
saying the
just
Career
if you are right. Well, I'm at a middle school and high school, and I rather the big kids because I
Me too.
Yeah, the little ones, you know, they don't understand as much, so I rather deal with the bigger kids that you can talk to them and mold them, especially middle school. Ooh, that's a rough time. And that's what I like about it the most. I worked at
look at our executive.
Listen.
You're gonna help
Listen.
Here, right?
I'm gonna let you speak, right? But
Mhm.
I say this to Roderick too, and even John, because Roderick always encouraged me to go to high school. But there's and I like the older kids too, but middle school I always look at like this peak. There's this peak really, and the molding of them is like sponge in a sense, really. And I would look at it as myself as one of those who are battling the opposition in a sense of the direction that they're going.
That's right.
Because at that age, really, when they get influence, that influence carries on for a long period of time. Not to say that you can't influence the high schoolers, but there's the psychology that's happening in their mind, their development is so different versus middle school. So that's why I love middle school, Rajic. That's why I love them.
Did you fail to understand that I spent 10 years in middle school, sir?
No, what I'm saying is that you always encourage me toward high school.
Yes.
That's
well,
what
there are reasons why.
Yeah, and I understand.
Right. But I agree. Like middle school is the hormonal imbalance, right?
Yeah.
You can lose them or create them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
So.
But you say you're 6 through 12, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm 6 through 12, and I mostly work with the 9th and 10th graders. But lately, I've been in with the middle school because they've been having so many challenges. So,
yeah.
But I love my job. I like working with kids, and I like seeing the difference that it brings because it is a major difference. I wish I can do more within the structure of the public school system, but this is why I got my license outside so that I can practice and help more people. Because you're still under the structure of the public school system.
What are some of the challenges that you see right now with some of the kids? And I know, so that parents out there could pay attention to some of the challenges or some of the trends that you're noticing that we should be aware of.
Oh, definitely. There's so many right now. It depends on where you are. I'm in the heart of East New York, Brooklyn, which is, close to Brownsville, and it's one of the harder school districts. I'm seeing a lot of the main thing is kids smoking marijuana and vaping. The biggest challenge I would say is that would be my number one. I'm talking about kids from 6th grade and up.
And what are some effects from them smoking? What do you see after they smoke? How do they act, or what? As a result,
they're sleeping. First of all, your brain is not fully developed until you're 25. So people don't really know that you're not fully developed until you're 25. So using these vapes and things, they don't know what's in it, the chemicals and the things that it's causing, and this is not marijuana. We don't know what's in these things. The fact that they're even selling them in every corner and they're selling them to our kids is disgusting, and nobody's really stopping it. But the issue that I see the most, like I've called the edibles and things like that. I've called the ambulance a few times for students who heartbeat is racing and they are sweating. And some people, if they have other mental illnesses, like they have anxiety or they struggle with other things. I've had kids on the floor hysterically crying from doing an edible or vaping. They don't know how much is in this stuff. They don't have a good understanding of what it is. And it's pretty scary. So parents, please look out. You don't know. Sometimes you don't know what they look like. I have so many vapes that I collected over time where parents didn't know what that was. If you're not aware, they're in these bright colors. They can look like anything. You know, I wish I had one to show. Yeah.
They just had a report this week about how many seniors and adults actually overdose in the gummies.
I can
the
see that.
edibles and things like that. So now saying it from the adult version, to hear about the kids, if adults are overdosing in that and it's having a serious effect on them, then you know the children is even worse. So behavior is part
especially
of it.
you don't major. You don't know what's in it. You don't know how much you're taking. You can't tell, especially with the edibles. You know, they put them in the brownies, they put them in, and then they sell them to be marketed to the kids. It looks like candy, right? So if you're thinking you're having a gummy bear, they're just popping them.
Where do
and
they
then it takes time for it to kick in.
A regular corner store, the smoke store. Where can you get it from?
The smoke shop. There's so many in the area I'm in, and they just opened another one. And I watch kids go in and out, and I'm going. They're not supposed to be letting kids buy.
I just realized I'm muted. I want to say something about the smoke shack. I want to address that immediately. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience that are listening, I've gotten in my role outside of this CEO host of the village, a lot of complaints about the smoke shops. I want to make sure I want to be clear.
But what are you? Because Debbie don't know, and some audience members might not know who you are beyond
I didn't want to bring it up. I just want to bring up this point. I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
There are 2,800 illegal smoke shops in New York State. Let me say that number again. There are 2,800 illegal smoke shops. So if you find that there's a smoke shop if you find that there's a smoke shop within your neighborhood, you need to report it. Because as we get back to, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Debbie DeJean, who is a licensed mental health counselor. She's in the school system, her own company, her own LLC. Right now we're talking about the effect of certain drugs and how they can be introduced to our young people, even without your knowledge and even without their knowledge. So I just want to interject by saying that with the 2,800, you as a parent need to be vigilant about it yourself, because whereas marijuana in itself can have a lot of positive effect if placed in the wrong hands and the wrong usage of it, right? It can cause some problems. So we're going to continue with Debbie as she talks about mental health and the effect. She said something important. If you missed it or you overlook it, for our young people who like to smoke, what is that age that the mind is somewhat developed for them to understand, so that the effect of marijuana will be less? What was that age again? Because people really need to hear that.
Yes, it's very shocking because it sounds so old, right? We say you're mature and you're 21 and you can do all these things, but your brain is not fully developed until you're 25 years old.
They think they got it.
Yeah.
But you're not fully developed. So when you watch a lot of these younger children, young adults, that's why they don't, have it all together yet. I didn't have it all together, right? At under 25, and now we know why, because it's not fully developed.
It's funny. You have a lot of parents, right, who believe that it's okay, right?
Yes.
Because you have parents like Dr. Bryant, like myself, who strongly discourage the use of marijuana amongst our children. But you have other parents who like, what's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
What's the big deal? Oh, marijuana it calms the mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this all the time. if you use medicine when you're not ill, right, it has a negative effect. So you use medicine when you're ill or when you're old enough to understand what it is that you're doing and not just what you think you're enjoying yourself with. I hated that smell.
Debbie, thank you for bringing that up. And it's so true, Roger. I'm going to go back to brain development. People don't know. Yeah. They think, you look on the outside, hey, they're adult at 18. They're adult at 17. They're all developed. No. 25.
25. So that's the magic number. Remember that, parents, is very important. And another thing with the vaping and things like that, there's no smell. So when you have the edibles and then the vaping and there's no smells, they're doing it in school. They're doing it a lot of places because you can't. I mean, they might have a light smell, but it doesn't smell like the marijuana, that you would when people smoke. So, a lot of the schools are struggling with that as well. Inside the building, in the classrooms, in the closets, in the bathrooms. Yeah. So that's another major problem.
So vaping is different from marijuana for those who don't.
Just the fact, you're not smelling it in the same way because it's put in this little container and it stays, you don't see the smoke the same way. So a lot of kids are just getting over. There's even something someone created that you can detect it now. So they made like a vape detector for schools to purchase in the yeah. Good invention. Wish I would have thought of it. Yeah.
COVID affected many families.
Oh, yeah.
Affected adults, affected kids. And the lingering effect 4 years later, right? And I'm talking about, when it was actually acknowledged around February of 2020, right? What do you still see? What effects, if any, do you see from either families, right? And I'm talking about the adult all the way down to the children. And I told you today I went to a career day. And one of the conversations still was around the internet and the use of the computer, right? Because now the kids were all on the computer. So now to take them off that computer, and you want them off because you understand social. Tell us, let me not answer the question for you. What are you seeing? What trends, mental component, and what advice do you have for parents?
Well, just a lot of since COVID. Yeah, that trend is not going to end. They are basically right. The computers, everything is on the computer now. It's just learning how to be safe with it and not being addicted, because that's what you kind of see now. The addiction to these things, right? The addiction to the phones, addiction to the social media. They had so much time to just be on phones and do these things instead of being in class, really, and learning, that COVID did a whammy on students. It's really, it's going to be a really long-term effect moving forward. With even work, they're so behind. I can imagine now what these regions are going to look like when the kids are testing. I'm so curious to see what the scores are like, because remember, kids who were in middle school now before COVID, they were in elementary. So they missed that whole pertinent time of education and learning. And I just find that so many kids are really, really far behind. It's a deficiency. And I don't know if they really planned for that. They also came back very angry. The first year after COVID, it was the worst year ever. Kids were really, really angry. They didn't know how to get along. They didn't know how to socialize. They didn't know how to just be around people. They had so much anxiety that people didn't think about. And it was something else. You're laughing, Joanne?
I'm laughing because I think they were mad being with their parents, and the parents are mad being with their kids. So now you have a combination of anger that came from, you have angry parents, angry children who couldn't see their friends, who had to be stuck with their parents, had to do class with their parents, and that's the worst.
And we didn't realize, like, you think about people who have the luxury of being in their homes, right? How blessed we are to have maybe your own room or just share with one sibling. But you didn't think about the kids who don't have that luxury, who are stuck with 8 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. Could you imagine?
Outside, right?
Right.
You know, the other thing that we're not looking at, especially in your district, and you know, the one I represent here in East Flatbush and part of Remsen Village and so forth and so forth. Violence.
Oh yeah.
Because coming out of COVID, you had a lot of murders, you had a lot of violence, you had a lot of people economically strapped, right? Because people were losing their jobs left and right. Now the economy is getting a little bit better, but the disadvantages for those 2-3 years, you know, I was having a conversation with somebody, with a very good friend of mine, and I tried to explain. I said, if I'm making $100,000 10 years ago, and you just start making $100,000 right now, my $100,000 has gone a very long way. I'm able to buy a house, I'm able to buy a nice car, whereas you're not able to do that. So the economical impact of parents being out of a job,
right?
And they were looking at, and these are low end. A lot of these people are low end jobs, right? Because you always fire the people low in the totem pole first before you try to get to the people at the top. Now the heads will roll at the top, but they normally stay, right? Because you could take out your own garbage, right? But when you have money, you hire somebody else to take out your garbage, right? So that affected families. When you talk about the 8 people in the house, right? 8 people in the house without a job, mom and dad, they're pissed off.
Right.
And a lot of times it's also single family homes.
Right.
So that mental carried a long way with the anger.
Right.
And you know what? You said something. Middle schoolers can't explain that anger. They just know they're angry.
They just know they're angry. Because remember, anger is your primitive response.
Yes.
Anger is your basic response, right? That's why when you're not emotionally developed enough to explain other emotions, that's the point of teaching mental health, right? There's other things besides anger. You're frustrated, you're hurt, you're sad, knowing different emotions. And our kids at that age don't know that. So they're coming back from COVID. All those feelings were wrapped in one. They lost grandma. They might have lost grandma and grandpa. A lot of people, those essential workers, were their parents.
Yeah.
Right?
In my family, for me, right, me personally, that was the height of my sickness, right? My audience already know that I have cancer. That was the height of my sickness. I could see I lost an aunt, right? I lost an aunt. My wife lost an aunt. She lost her brother, right? All coming out of COVID. Now, my kids were affected by that. Imagine those kids.
Right.
Or seeing mommy and daddy in an event, and the image of seeing, even if they survived, right? Seeing mommy and daddy, grandma on that ventilator, can't breathe. You can't say hello. You can't go in. Why? But I spent all this time with grandma or grandpa. Why I can't go in the room, right? That effect.
Not being able to say goodbye, not being able to have a funeral, not being able to have so many.
Yep.
It was so many things that affected their mental health, and we're all still struggling. You can feel the effects. You can definitely still feel the effects of it.
Yeah, you know, I remember having to explain to my children, you know, what was going on, and I remember June of that year, I was in the hospital for close to a month. Right, I remember it because I went in on the day of my wife's birthday, and I stayed through the entire July. And that time, my brother-in-law, he didn't die of COVID. He died of something else. And then I began to see people dying around me. And I just, like you were talking about, you know, what's the family and stuff like that. What do you say to a parent as a counselor? You're having this conversation. They're looking to you for answers, right? So tell us about some of the things that you want the parent to think about, right? Because it's never, your answer to me is never the answer for Dr. Bryant, right? Your answer to Dr. Bryant is never the answer to our executive producer, Andre. What are some things that you want parents to look at, or families to look at, children to look at, as you come in?
I just basically, right. And you want them to try to understand even what mental health is. A lot of parents, you know, that was one of the things, like people don't believe in, especially people of color, people from different backgrounds, right? Caribbean, you don't go to counseling, you don't tell people your business, you keep it in the family, and you stay quiet. So just breaking the stigma of that, having to break that to family, saying you have to deal with some of these things and learn to talk about it, and it's okay, and learning to trust someone. Always referring parents for mental health counseling. I have like a list of places for people to go. The issue is sometimes it's insurance, or sometimes it's other things, you know, when parents don't have that, and just giving them positive reinforcement, knowing that this will be helpful. If you go to the doctor, right? You go to the doctor, you go to the dentist, you need to check on your brain as well. You need to, to talk about your feelings. So these are things I actually have sessions sometimes in the school, like full sessions with parents, just getting them to buy into mental health and being okay. And it's okay to not be okay, realizing what you're going through. A lot of people don't connect the dots. And that's what mental health and counseling is connecting the dots to issues so that you can have a bigger, broader picture of what's going on in your life, and you can learn to deal with it better. So just basically trying to have them buy into counseling is what I do a lot of, especially in my community.
Talk about the functional modality treatment piece that you do to help those parents deal with that issue.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I work a lot with CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's more just getting parents to change the way you're thinking. A lot of mindfulness I do, which is learning how to meditate and breathe. Like even when my kids come in, just learning how to breathe and calm down, right? Strength-based therapy, which is pulling out your strength. What are the good things, right? And working off of that. So in counseling, for school, I do a lot of group counseling, and I do individual. So all of those are modalities, but those are the ones I use the most. I'm more eclectic though. I pull from a lot of different things because, again, like you said, Roderick, everybody's different, right? So everybody can't use the same exact treatment. It's always going to be a different thing for people. So all depends. But even in the school, we created a wellness room so that when kids are upset, we took a closet, put lights in there and a big cushion beanbag chair and aromatherapy. And we have like my cards actually are in there for kids to go in and play. We have games in there, but it's small and you don't understand. We put a little bit of music on, like meditation music, and the lights are dim and you can see the wonders. I think every school should have one. How kids can go in, they're allowed to leave class, they can get a pass if they need a minute and stay in for 5 to 10 minutes if they need to, and just sit. And you can see how they calm down. Teachers are welcome. Anybody's welcome to go in. So little things like that, right? Those simple things that you can do just to relax and learn how to gather your thoughts. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did.
I'm seeing that more often, that some places are creating a wellness room, and it's like, okay, yeah, I see. I noticed that there was pillows, but you explained it's a way for the kids to
relax. And it's open to everyone, open to teachers. It's open to whoever needs it. It's open to people who may need to pray during the day. It's open for all those things. And it's so necessary. And you can see, if I can show video of kids, how their mood changes immediately just going in. The lights are blue. So it's just a calming effect. All of this is good for your mental health. And sometimes you can't get to therapy right away, right? So you need those little things that you can reach to that calm you. For me, it might be a cup of tea. Some people, it's their coffee they go to. Some people, I always say, have your simple things that you can go to when you can't do anything else. If you need 5 minutes of quiet, sitting in the car, not playing music, all those things are definitely good for your mental health. And little ways that you can, just tips that you can use to calm down. Your meditation balls, like, you have those squishy balls that you can roll in your hand, right? I use those all day for myself personally. But a lot of times after COVID, that meditation, the wellness room became necessary. Yeah.
So very quickly, how do you come up with some of the conversation cards that you came up with for kids?
Well, I
Can you
noticed.
show it?
Yes. I know I didn't have a place to put them on. So these are the conversation cards. They're 100 cards in a deck, and they're made for kids, adolescents. I put an age, but what I'm finding is I shouldn't have had an age on it, because what I'm finding is that some kids are a little more mature than others, because I made them for adolescents, but I'm finding even younger kids are fine with it. So I came up with the concept. Maybe I can leave it back here so people can see it. I don't know if that's too far though. Yeah, that's kind of far.
How about you just read?
That's all I have. I feel like Vanna. I feel like Vanna Black, right? My cards.
What made you come up with it?
I came up with them because I work with also with therapists, new therapists, and I'm their supervisor. And that's another part of mental health that you can get into. So I supervise the new ones who are getting hours, and they work under my license. And I find that a lot of people have, so many more kids are in therapy since COVID. And therapy is, as the kids say, it's popping. It's a waiting list. You can't get in right now. It's like a club that so many people, you can't get in. So I created the cards because working with those therapists, I realized they didn't have the tools or know how to ask certain questions to get information from children. And, children don't open up. Most of the time, they don't want to be in therapy. They're going to therapy because they're forced to be in therapy. It's rare that children want to go when asked to go, even though that's becoming more common as well, but it's still not, usual. So kids are usually dragged to therapy. So they sit there and they're like this, right? And they're like, I don't want to talk. This is like an adult talking to me, stressing me out, sounds like my mom. And they're going to go back and tell my mom everything I'm saying. So the cards were created so that you can learn to have a conversation that's just fun, but you can get information out of them. So even just looking at a few of mine, these are just a few of them, right? These are some of my favorite questions, if you don't mind. Right? So,
and you know what? I agree with you. You should have never put just adolescent, because I actually shared it with a couple of my colleagues. And it works well with restorative and even adults. Switch it out a little bit. So as restorative circles, they mentioned that, this would work with restorative circles, because a lot of schools try to figure out, hey, what can I use? It's not just a circle you just get around, but you can use strategies
and
to
certain
support
tools.
That culture in that school.
And so parents, parents have a hard time, but I do agree. But I put, this is the first edition, so I feel like there would be many more, my adolescent edition, but it's not necessarily adolescent. It can be used for anyone, like you said. Some of the questions, I had one question, like it says, in what ways does your parent or guardian let you down?
Wow.
Right. Now, picture playing that with your parent or guardian. You can get so much information from that, right? And this, like you said, this is a question you can even join in. As a parent, if you're playing this game, you can talk about how your parents, right? So it's a win, because kids get to know who you are, and you get to understand who they are. And it's so much information in that question. It's a broad question that can open up doors for so much to come in. This was a good one for me. So it says, do adults automatically deserve respect? Do kids? Because we come in a generation, right, where you say you just are spoken to and the kids are not supposed to speak, but kids don't feel like that anymore. Especially in the Caribbean, right? It's like, you don't say anything, right? It's being fresh. So do kids deserve respect? And a lot of kids are speaking up about that. The adults, deserve respect automatically, even if you're not giving it.
Yeah, the Generation Z's, Generation YEX, all of them.
Right? It's different. It's very different. Here's another one. It says, what do you do when you get angry? So that was kind of the question you talked about, right? They just know anger. What do you do when you get angry? How do you respond? A lot of kids come in and go, oh, well, I did that because I was angry. I said, that just having an emotion doesn't give you the right to do anything you want to do because you're angry. So they're teaching moments. It's good for parents. It's good for educators. It's good for and therapists. I have whole families that play. I have video upon video that people send me that play with your family, and some are adults,
I would think also that growth mindset is also into this. Even when you were thinking about it, you were coming up with the idea. Have you had I guess not extensive, but moments with students when you're using the cards with them, wherein kind of like walk them through ways they could do something different, like, oh, you just ask, what do you do when you're angry? And they're like, oh, I did it because I'm angry.
Right. So that's right. So that's where the teaching moments all come in. So definitely was meant for a growth mindset and to see different perspectives, right? And each person can get a turn. It depends on, you can play and there's no rules of how you play, right? So sometimes if I'm having a group that's mandated, I'll go around and I'll talk to each kid and everybody will answer. And kids will say, well, you know what I used to do when I was like that? And then they can feed off of each other, right? So it's not always the adult telling them what to do. And then I can always give perspective. So what's a better way? Because it's always nice to ask, what's a better way you could have handled that? Right.
And it makes me even think about restorative practice.
Exactly.
Right. A space where they can feel the sense of comfort, like I can share openly and not feel like any feedback is criticism only. Is it constructive, valuable? Can I use it in a sense?
And they can be vulnerable they can be vulnerable while they're playing, because it's just open forum. You're playing a game. You know what I mean? There's even fun questions in there that are not as serious about TikTok or Snapchat, or if you only had one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? And we have fun off of those things too. So it's a blend.
Speaking of
oxtail, rice and peas.
There you go. That would have been a good one too.
That's my own personal mental health.
Food. He's true. All he does is eat. And thank you, our listeners, for watching and joining us this evening. So if you're just joining on, we have Debbie Dejan that's talking about mental health and how we can deal with Roderick. Help us to mentally deal with Roderick.
I say jokingly about the oxtail, rice and peas, but on a very somber, sad note, that was my sister's last meal. About 1 week before she passed, she never said another word. She asked my godbrother Carl that she wants some oxtail and rice and peas.
Rice and peas, and
that was her last
comfort food.
Yeah, and it's ironically funny because when my sister just came from Jamaica, her favorite food was dumpling. So she came up and she's like, I remember her saying that in 1984, exact, like I was 12 years old and she was 5. And actually, she wasn't 5 yet. She was actually 4 because she was turning 5 in a couple of days. And she goes, I don't eat rice, I eat dumpling. To hear the change, like she goes, I want oxtail and rice and peas, because I don't know about we didn't eat that in the West Indies. Nobody ate oxtail. Nobody ate oxtails in the West Indies. We ate like chicken, pork, and whatever we were fed. So that the whole, and you hear that your last meal, and people think of different things, right? Like, and what is it that they want to eat? But the question becomes, why is that important? I mean, I shared my story. This is why it is important to me, right? Or why maybe it might not be my meal, but when I think of it, I think of why it would be important. I like how you throw the questions in, because I believe that you're allowed to think, right? You think about your parents, you think about yourself, you think about your own ideology, right? And it doesn't matter your age. No matter what age you are, you have an ideology. It might change the older you become, because your life experiences have caused some changes, right? And as you get as old as myself, or older, you might become a little bit more rigid. But as you're younger and you begin the process of thinking, And again, goes back to Andre's and your point, right? Why middle school age is so vital and important, right? Because that's the molding period.
It's funny because I have a question in there about food and what's your favorite food? If you can only have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Right.
And just things like that get people to talking, right?
Yeah.
So say we were in a session and someone said rice and peas and oxtail, and that might bring up something for another kid, right? Say that had a similar situation like yours. And then look how that broadens. Okay, so this is how you remember your sister, right? Every time you eat this is how you honor her. So many other things can come out of that conversation that you would be surprised where it can go.
Yeah.
So that's the point of just sometimes it's just plain simple question, but it can go there, which is it's great. So it gives them a chance just to open up about so many topics. It's so funny. I listen to kids playing without me in the wellness room. Sometimes my kids are just picking and they're laughing and joking, and it's nice to hear them having a good time. And they were like, "We love these cards." And then to say that a Black woman, I created those, and they're like, "Oh, you created something?" You know, they're amazed that you could create something. So it's been really joyful. It's been great for me, and I can't wait to make more.
You know, one of the positive relationships I had with my students was making them understand that I was them. Like, again, I refer back to Korea Day today, right? I was like, you know, I was 9 years old too, you know, and I became 9, then I turned 10, then I kept going until I got to 52, right? Really? And they're amazed. And then the other thing like I like to remind our students, hey, you know what? We all have problems, right? Everybody has a problem. My problem is not your problem, right? So for me, it might be my hairdo, but for the person who's hungry, they don't care about the hairdo, right? To the person who, you know, fights in school, kids fight over a chair, right? They fight over a chair. And sometimes you ask, why would a student fight over a chair? And then you realize they're home. And at home, we talk about the 8 kids, and you don't have a chair.
Exactly.
You don't have
you're always fighting over a seat.
Right? Space. Yeah, right. You have your own space, and it's hard for them to conceptualize. Hey, you could have any chair you want, right? It doesn't have to be that one, but you could sit there, and they're not used to it because they don't have anything.
Right.
And so we begin the process of teaching. We just have a couple more questions for you. One of them.
Wait, before you say a question, I appreciate the fact that you created cards that's lighthearted, but also very powerful. So not only can a therapist pick it up, but a parent could pick it up. You know, hey guys, let's have some talk as a family and say, hey, let's sit down and just have some fun. So that, you know, I could discover what's hidden or what is happening behind the scenes from my kids or anyone else. You know,
that was the purpose. And I appreciate that. And you have been such a big supporter of them. Joanne has my back, which I love. And I totally appreciate that. But that is exactly the point, because sometimes you don't know what to ask.
I'll tell you this. Jalen and Araya, my niece and nephews, were here during the summertime. They live in Florida, and we were playing the cards. And the 7-year-old, she's 6, 7, she enjoyed it because she wanted to talk.
Yes.
So many times kids just want an opportunity to share what's happening, and they don't have that opportunity. Maybe not at school, maybe not at home, but just to be heard.
Just to be heard in a fun way, right? And especially for the young men, I find that boys are not taught to speak and open up, right? So you have to find creative ways to get them to talking. The girls will always kind of talk unless they're just naturally quiet, right? But the boys, I find that they enjoy it as well.
But you know what? I appreciate it because research, just recently I was hearing that a lot of our young people, Black, college students are creating, they're committing suicide.
Oh yeah.
And why? We don't have, it's unfortunate, but if we could reach them, then maybe they don't have to.
Right.
And just for them to see that connection that, hey, you don't have to go that extreme to be heard.
That's right. And so many people, even again, after COVID, the numbers have went up. I just had a former student, same thing, young man who went to the school, star basketball player, decided to jump in front of a train.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah. And just the mental health. And we're planning on doing something in his name. You know, it's disheartening to see how people are struggling and not getting the attention or feeling like there's no other way. To feel that bad to want to jump in front of a train. Could you
Did
imagine?
that just recently happen?
Maybe it's about a month and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is more and more that we don't even hear about. Right?
Yeah.
Hear about.
That's
And
the problem.
This is a family. I had all of his siblings. They went through my school. So yes, there's more work to do. There's different cards to make for these things, to talk about suicide, to talk about all these things. This opens up so much because it's just asking, how are you feeling?
And what about the parents how do you support parents who are dealing with kids who are at that stage, or children who actually deal with parents who commit suicide? Have you come across that?
Thank God, no, with the parents, but I get a lot of kids with the suicidal ideations, the thinking about it. That's common, very common now. And the thing I see, it's younger, even younger kids. So you're having elementary school kids talking about committing suicide. You also, I just talk to parents about what you're watching. What are you doing? What's on? So many of these kids are watching TikTok. So many kids are watching things that are not monitored, right? What's putting these thoughts in your head? What are you watching? What's your algorithm like? What are you comparing yourself to? Even when I talk to the teenagers and the girls, what are you looking at that you're comparing yourself to, that you don't feel good enough or pretty enough? Or, these are all topics that I try to talk to parents about, and just being mindful of watching what your kids are doing, going through their things, like, understanding, okay, let me see what your homework, let's see the book bag, let's see, are there vapes in the book bag, right? Are these little things? You have to be mindful. You have to look and kind of search and ask questions. There's a lot of questions, and creating a rapport with your children. It's important. If they have no one to talk to, or they feel like they just don't have anybody, this is where all these thoughts come from. Or is mental illness in your family? So I talk to a lot of parents about that. And as we dig deep, oh yeah, well, my sister did have an issue with this, or my grandmother suffered with schizophrenia. Okay, some of these things are hereditary. It doesn't guarantee, but it's a high percentage that maybe that's what's going on, So you see a lot more. It's a lot more mental illness going on. But the good part is that we're talking about it now. That's why I have there's a waiting list. We're talking about it.
Deidre, I work mental health, and we find a lot of young kids coming in. I mean, ages 16 and 17 with suicidal attempt and marijuana usage.
Oh, yeah.
And while you're talking about that topic as well, in the background, Karen now is talked about, she sent me a message, it's a very good topic. Especially, it has always been a challenge of referring children to therapy with Caribbean families.
Yes.
I feel it becomes desperation that Deirdre RN has to deal with, because now we got to that point that you're now at wit's end, because we as Caribbean parents, we have a tendency to say, oh, it's a phase, right? They'll get raw, and they don't, right? So you can talk about address both of those, or all three don't have the capability to express their emotion, lack of self-worth, and identity. So all of that tie in, because
one more to that. What about ADHD? Because a lot of people would say, oh no, it's just ADHD. It's just, we'll put them on pills or whatever. How do you tell the difference, and what can you do with that?
Well, there's so much. That's a lot to unpack, right? But just understanding. No, but it's just the understanding. I use a lot of YouTube videos. small clips, right? Because people don't have the brain capacity to watch long things anymore, right? So sometimes I'm saying, let me just send you this so you can understand, or I watch it with them, what this is about. This is what your child is going through. So say if you're talking about ADHD, explaining what ADHD is, understanding that they cannot control it. Even sharing with parents, you know, they can't. It's in your brain. It's not the same way that you may think. You know, their thoughts are racing. They can't focus. It comes up in so many different ways. So I can't say it comes up differently in different people, but explaining to them what it is. I've had parents and they still deny, you know, medication, which I understand, because sometimes medication can be good for certain things.
Sorry. You said we can't control ADHD?
No, the fact that you can't, there's ways to go around it, right? To help you to organize, color code things, right? But it's how your brain is functioning. So it's not like, oh, he just decides he just has to run around, or he's just too hyper and they just have to. No, a lot of times they can't. If you watch someone who has severe ADHD and there's different levels, right? You can see kids. I see kids all the time. They cannot sit. They're sitting, they're fidgeting, they're moving, they have to do something. I have kids who are brilliant. It has nothing to do with, and I tell parents that you're intelligent. It has nothing to do with that, right?
Is it possible when, as they get older, there's a little bit more control of it, like practicing? I'm wondering in a sense of being disciplined or practicing habits over time as you get older, you know, as an adult,
that's what we teach parents.
You know how to
different ways that they can manage it. Right. There's different ways to manage anything. Right. And some things are such behavior that you're so used to doing. So that's why the therapy comes in hand. Not just necessarily medication, or you don't want to do medication, is maybe changing the foods that you're eating. And the therapy becomes handy because it's teaching you how to be disciplined. It's teaching you how to manage your time, how to do certain things. So, I mean, this is like, it's a lot to unpack in one session, and I would love to come back because I'm loving this, but it's a lot. But it's basically teaching people about mental health, what this means. It's not that you're crazy. You know what I mean? People come in and say, I'm crazy. Yeah, my kid's not crazy. They don't need this.
Definitely remember growing up when we had our what could be seen as ADD, get 2 lick, you sit still.
That's right. And that's it, right? And you better sit still. Did you ever see those kids when you were that they still couldn't? I've seen you still can't. You can't beat things out of people, right? It's the old Caribbean way. What I'm seeing a lot of, my mom's from Trinidad, but what I'm seeing a lot of is the old school way where parents think they're gonna go, right? You say like 2 licks, and then you're supposed to be good.
Doesn't work like that.
And a lot of those things were abusive. So many Caribbean people come into my that I have as clients, well, I used to have as clients, and they're saying the abuse that they physical and mental, because you know that was the way we thought was right. We only know what we know. Not just Caribbean. This is just a product of generational trauma.
Right? It's called
ignorance, and it's generational trauma.
Yeah,
you know, this goes back of what we think, how we're supposed to discipline.
Yeah, I mean, we
and we have to let people know this in different ways.
We were taught to sit still on by murderation. So we batter our kids because that's what we're taught. Let's go back to
Deidre asked,
yes,
how can we get access to those cards that you have?
Yes, ma'am. If you go on my website, you can get some information. If you go on my website, which is, look, I have to write it because sometimes I forget. I have too many sites. It's bloomcounselingny.com. So you can go on bloomcounselingny.com. Maybe we could put it in the chat. And on there, you can order the cards from there.
You know, Debbie.
Is that correct, Debbie? Look at the screen, Debbie.
Oh, you put it in? Yes.
Look up.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You're fancy, right? Thank you. That is perfect. That's correct.
All right. You know, Debbie, I want to thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation around mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, just like you said, it takes a lot to unpack about what it is that you're talking about, working with those kids.
Like you see, Deidre says, these are conversational piece. What Deidre and Karen brought up, identity, self-worth, emotions. So having those cards or having conversations about it in a fun, creative way to get down to the deep part of what's the root behind it is important. Because if we don't, then we have a set of young folks that think they're not worthy and committing suicide. And that's the problem.
Right.
We can't
and making more generation and creating more generational trauma, right? Not breaking these stereotypes.
We have to go, but one of the things that you talk about suicide, Dr. Bryant, but it might not even lead to that, right? You're talking about families that go to jail, right? A lot of students, a lot of people who are in jail, regardless of color, right? Regardless of race, right? Has to do with mental health, right? Or some form of issue mentally, right? And we know that because it has been studied, right? So, and the trauma that has a long-term effect on a family that doesn't have a mother, that doesn't have a father, an important uncle, an important aunt, whatever, whatever role that person, a role model, right? That you look up to. Look at right now with P. Diddy, right? You find out that he's abusive, right? And
that's
what kind of that has a lot of people who looked up to him, right? Who idolized him, right? I mean, at this point, even the mayor is thinking about, I mean, I'm not diagnosing him. I don't know him to diagnose him. But from what I see on television and what I see in the media, you sense that there are issues around being abusive and mental health, whether it's something that he grew into, something that was not addressed when he was a kid, something that we thought was okay. So the long-term effect and the issue that how it can affect other people.
That's right. Generations.
Right. So
I'm sorry. And I realize you have Bloom Mental Counseling. So it's no mental. It's just Bloom Counseling NY. There you go.
I realized
that's a good point.
I realized the error because when I went to it, it wasn't showing.
It doesn't pop up, right? I'm looking at the mental in there.
Yeah, right.
You can also follow me on Instagram at Bloom Mental Health Counseling.
We do thank you for, and actually also thank you for being prompt because you were able to come back on and hear some things that we were talking about. And as Dr. Bryant, she tortured me as usual. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity to hear you at least for a little bit. And for those of you, please go to her website, become an instant Instagram follower, and hear some of the things that she's talking about. This is important. So thank you again, Doctor. Again, I'm going to call you Doctor.
No, Doctor. No, Doctor.
So you know
what it is.
Let me hold them up again, guys. Look, this is what it looks like. And just
Rudy, did you sign up for mental God. So I want to say, Debbie,
show the cards again.
Yes.
I'll have you in the spotlight.
My nephew, who's in Florida, logged in because he was one of the.
I see already. I can see my phone blowing up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So my nephew, who's in Florida, he said, "Hey, I hope you guys are okay." But he's logging in. He's one of the players of the card, just so you know.
I love it. And give me some feedback.
Jalen.
Feedback.
Okay,
this is my first.
You heard that.
Give me some feedback. So this is my first endeavor with something like this, creating something for mental health, and I want feedback.
Congratulations. Congrats.
So I appreciate you guys. Keep doing this good work because these topics and these things are so important in our community. We have to talk. So I really appreciate even just being here. Thank you for the invite. And I'll be back anytime I am asked.
Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. We're waiting for version 2 for especially for Roderick.
Yes.
Tracy Bell said, "Sign up for it."
I see they're asking him to sign up already.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, and have a great long weekend. Yes.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Roderick, you're muted. Pretty sure you wanted to say something.
Tracy, I thought we were friends. I appreciate it, right? I thank you, Tracy. And the funny thing is, I thought of you too, Tracy, that you need some mental health yourself, right? So we both need, because you have some, when you get mad, when Tracy gets mad, right, you just get out of her way, like just move. I'm bad, but she's worse, right? Right, Miss Bell?
All right.
Love you too.
So let's kind of like hit on the market stuff real quick, and
Yes,
then we go to the
please
next thing.
do. That's so
So
important for a lot of our listeners. Go.
yeah, so last week,
Wait, before you do that, Andre, it's just a spin, right? We're still talking about, man, because one of the things that we spoke about, some of you missed some of the session, but there was a certain level of financial lacking that happened during COVID and before, right? So Andre, so we talked about at the beginning, we talked about vacationing, right? Relaxing your mind, especially and doing family vacation. Now Andre is going to talk about a little bit about some kind of financial stuff that you need to look at and how that can help you with your families.
So I think it was in 20, I'm trying to remember, 21. Well, once I say GameStop, a lot of people will know that the meme stock, when it crazed, what's his name? Roaring Kitty. I remember his real name. And he was leading the charge with the meme stock to kind of like go against the hedge funds, investors, the big dogs in the stock market. And GameStop was skyrocketing, and of course, it came to an end. Right, last week, GameStop came back on the scene. Roaring Kitty was back. He tweeted, and the stock skyrocketed up to about 110%. Right, it went from $16.88 on May 10 to $64 in the span of 2 days. Right, just because he posted, everybody was going in. So that's a meme stock. There was no fundamentals behind it. The data, there was nothing like that behind it. And so a lot of times people want to jump into the craze where it's running, it's going up. I want to join in, let me join in. But that's when you get hammered, right? And so you have to be mindful of those right there, the psychological play. So that's GameStop. On the other hand, we have company like Nvidia. And I know, Roderick, we talk about that since since
COVID.
Yeah, since COVID. Remember I was talking to Garcia and she was just like, yeah, this one's gonna go up. And they just hit $1,000+ yesterday after reporting their earnings beat. They raised the guidance, expectations were beat. I mean, there's billions of dollars being made right there because other companies.
Andre, let's put it into proper perspective, people. When we started talking about Nvidia in 2020, I don't remember the exact number. I think the stock was 100. Right? If you had done what we told you to do and you spend.
Oh, by the way, we're not financial advisors, just to let you know.
Right, just so you're clear.
Education, though.
Because you can lose money too, right? But this is one of those that really worked out, right? And Novavax actually is going to be increasing as well because they're coming with a vaccine.
Eli Lilly too.
Right. You got to get to your financial advisors. It's very important that you understand that. Don't hold us accountable for you not talking to your financial advisor.
Do your due diligence, research.
Right? Do your own diligence, right? If you bought 10 shares of that stock, just 10, you'd have made $9,000+, and then some because it's over that period of time. So you're looking at, I can't do the compounded math or whatever the case is, but the raw number is that you would have made over $9,000 on 10 shares. So that's just something that's what the good side of the stock market, right? Is the good side and the number of stocks. Anyway, just I give it an idea of how the stock market works.
So the last thing, the other thing I want to say too, really, is that fundamentals, right? Data, right? And even in education, we talk about data. We use data to help us evaluate where students are and then instruct. And so it's the same with other things like the stock market, or even if you're in real estate, you always want to use data, right? See where the data matches up with whatever it is that you're investing in. And then you give it time, right? You may put a $10 here, you may put a $50 here, and you just have to be patient. And so the patience itself, when we think about our mental health itself, people will see the money going down when they invest it, panic and sell, right? And so you don't want to do that. You want to really stay in there, but it's also if it's a good company. And Nvidia is a really great company. I mean, this is a semiconductor company. When you think about chips and leading the AI charge, this company is leading the AI charges. So when you think about ChatGPT and all those other things, so look into it. You have Microsoft, you have Apple, you have Google. Those are some other companies that you can look into. But Nvidia really blew it out of the park yesterday, right? Year to date, 115%. So look out. Their guidance has been raised. Next few years, gonna continue running.
One thing that you like, we always tell you to diversify your portfolio, right? So every time we talk about diversifying your portfolio. And what does that mean? Like, you don't necessarily want to invest all in technology. You don't invest all your money in technology. You don't invest all your money in travel. You don't invest all your money in different areas, right? So, because again, you're going to go insane if you lose all of your money. But if one stock is going up, another one is going down, your financial advisor can advise you of such. Like, one of the fastest way to become wealthy and rich is through the investment in the stock market, through a gradual increase over time, right? So the other way is through real estate, right? So, and both of those are risky markets. That's why you have to make sure that you have the right education about it. It's like gambling, right? You don't or loaning money, right? You don't loan what you can't afford to lose, right?
Wait, I have to push back a little bit on that because I've been doing this for so long. Gambling is when you go in there hoping. Right?
No, wait. What I'm saying is, I didn't get it like that. You're right.
Okay,
You're
okay,
right.
okay.
What I'm saying is, like, when you gamble, you spend $300, right? And you're saying, I'm good in. I know exactly what's going on. I know the scheme, and I'm probably going to win, right?
Yeah. The hope, you're hoping,
right? With the stock market, it's a little bit more, right? It's a little bit more. You have more research opportunities at your advantage. Right, that you can use. It's not, one-on-one betting. Like, I'm gonna bet Andre and dominoes and I'm gonna beat him, right? And I'm gonna bet $300, right? I'm gonna bet $300 against Andre because I'm a better domino player than Andre. That doesn't mean that Andre won't beat me, but Andre's not necessarily going to bet $300, or if he bets $300, he's doing the hoping thing. Right. Whereas I'm not really doing so much of a hoping because I play dominoes and he doesn't. So in a game of 100, I'm more than likely going to beat him a lot more than he's going to beat me. Okay. So it's the same thing with the stock market. Analyze what you're doing. So we talk about Nvidia. Many years ago, we talked about stocks that are splitting, right? Why some stocks split and why some stocks don't. Nvidia right now, you buy one share of Nvidia, it's going to split in a 10-to-1 split. So that one share is going to become 10 shares, right? When we spoke about Tesla, what is Tesla right now, Andre? Can you look?
About 175.
How much?
About 175. No, it's 173.
173. When it did its split, it was down to, and it was a couple of years ago, it did a split, and we spoke about it. It was a little bit under $120. So
it went all the way to 135 about a month ago.
No, but I'm saying on the split when they did this, I think it did a 4-way split or 8-way split or something like that a couple of years back, right? What is Microsoft now? Because they did this 4-way split.
Microsoft is oh sure, it's not in my watch list here. Microsoft is 427 right now. Right.
So if you had done, was it Microsoft or Apple that did the 4-way split? One of them did the 4-way split.
Apple. Could have been Apple.
Let's check Apple before we give false team. Well, one of them did a 4-way split and it got down to $100 and something on the 4-way split, right? And had you owned, let's say you bought 10 shares, right? That would have been 40 shares, right? That's what it would have been if you had bought it at before the split, because before the split is at certain price and it goes up. What happens is the stock goes up in price, where it doesn't become affordable. And so the owner of the company,
It was Apple 4 for 1.
yeah, 4 for 1.
It
So,
was Apple
and what is Apple share now? Right? So
186. 186.
186. So if you had bought Apple 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, you'd have paid a certain amount of money. On the 4-way split of Apple, now you own 4 shares, and it was at 121 or thereabouts, a little bit over 120. That means that you'd have made about $80-something so far on your share, and that's not looking at dividends and not looking at interest and not looking at the fluctuation of the market, right? Tesla, same thing. Tesla did a multiple splits, right? Tesla was up to, I think, $3,000 at one point. So if you had bought it young, one share, when they did the first split, then they did a second split, you own a whole lot of shares, and now you have a whole lot of money. Just like we talked about with the Bitcoin, right? So even if you own it, Bitcoin is still, I think I looked it up a couple of weeks ago, Bitcoin was still on the rise. Andre can look that up. I think it was on our watch list. It's Bitcoin as well. Louis Vuitton Moet. It might have leveled off, but if you had bought it when we told you, you would have made money. The air travel, you would have made money. Not all the stocks. There's some stocks that like Plug that massively collapse. But if you diversify the portfolio, you would not have feel the effects of Plug, because your gains on the other stocks would have been significantly greater. So do your homework, do your research. A lot of us have kids going to college, put that money away. I always talk about not investing in a bank. Your bank is for saving. Savings account is 3 to 6 months. Checking is for paying your bills, and even that minimum basis, so you don't pay the bank. What does it call it? What do you pay, like $30 in? What do you call it? If you don't have the right amount of money in there, right? You pay, what is that called? The bank fee, whatever you call it.
Overdraft.
No, if you don't have the minimum amount of money that they require, they charge you certain amount.
Insufficient funds.
Oh no, that's it's a fee. It's a fee. It's some sort of fee.
It's a fee.
Yeah.
It's insufficient fund. If you overdraw your money, you have to pay. Yeah, insufficient
Right.
fund.
If you don't have enough, they're gonna charge you, and you'll be paying that $30.
So let's say the bank says you need $500 in your balance. If you drop below $500, they charge your fee, whatever minimum balance fee. That's what it's called, minimum balance fee, right? So you pay that. So you just have to be very cognizant about how you invest in or what you do with your money, and have different things, not just your 401k, your TDA, your this, your that. Stocks is too risky, because if someone lose their money, that's on them. Everything is risky, right? Everything is risky. But if you want to make life is about risk. We as people of color, we don't like to take risks. And then we wonder why we don't have as much wealth. We like to play it safe all the time. Right? While we complain that Dick, Tom, and Harry has millions, we're the same age. We went to the same school. Right? Their parents did the same thing my parents did. Why do they have money and we don't? And because we don't like to take risk. We grow up, our parents use bank accounts. And I'm not telling you to put all your money in the stock market, right? Did you hear what I've been very clear? Diversify your portfolio.
In the end, essentially, one has to do their research, right? When you look at the billionaires and the millionaires, go see how they make it. Either it's like in business, real estate, stocks, commodities, and even crypto right now. If you're saying it's too risky, perhaps you may have lost, or perhaps you may have seen the risk that it has hurt people. I mean, in the pandemic, people were making bangers, but a lot of the companies that were shooting up in the pandemic were also terrible companies, right? And so people were just investing.
And they stayed too long.
They're just,
And they stayed too long.
Yeah, so like the market had to make a correction. It's like GameStop. GameStop was just running up. That was in a pandemic. I mean, imagine the government was printing money, people getting stimulus, people went out and spend. You're spending money.
And they were home. Don't forget they were home. So
Exactly. So Amazon, a great company, it was gonna shut up in the pandemic, right? And it's still doing its thing right now. It's split. Trying to think of other companies that weren't
Berkshire, Bloomberg.
Berkshire, yeah, like a lot of them were
I want to share a story for Benev. Our Bloomberg started Bloomberg at 39 years old. Right? He started it at 39. Right? So people thought that he was not rich. He started Bloomberg LLC at 39. By the time he was 50 years old, he was a multimillionaire. By the time he was 55, he was a multi-billionaire. By the time he became mayor at 62, 20 years ago, right, he was worth over $6 billion. By the time he left office, he was worth over 22 million. At this current rate, I think he's worth over $1 billion at 82 years old. The point that I'm making with telling that story, right? The owner of KFC, Colonel Sanders, was unsuccessful at 65 to create KFC. 65 years old, right? So the risk doesn't have to come now. You usually teach people to take risk early than later. But you can become whatever the risk that you take can come at any time, but you have to be willing to take a risk. Right? Mm-hmm. That's it. If you're not willing to take a risk, then don't talk about generational wealth. Don't talk about, I want to make money. Right? Because at the end of the day, I went out and I bought the lottery today. Right? Mm-hmm. That's a pipe dream. Like Andre was saying, you're betting on a hope that you might win. Rich people don't buy the lotto. Okay, well, right. Extremely rich people don't buy the lotto.
You never know. Some of them probably.
No, not extremely rich. The extremely rich don't buy the lotto.
But yeah, because the money, I'm saying probably some of them do, because I mean we don't necessarily know. But when you look at how they're making their money, man, they could like look at what's his name, Meta, Zuckerberg. That man can just roll out of his bed the next morning, and his net worth goes up 2 billion. Like, so it's like they're not doing much, but we consuming their product, consumerism, we're helping them get rich. But like we say, in the end, you got to do your own research. Get a financial advisor, learn it, and there's risk in everything that you're gonna take on to make money.
I just want to add one thing. None of us here, right? None of us in this platform is going to tell you how to make $1 million a year. We can tell you how to move towards it, right? What are some things that you can do to move toward? And we are also doing some of the things that we're telling you about, right? Whether it's real estate, whether it's investment in the stock market, whatever it is, right? So we're looking at gains and losses. So like I could tell you up front, right, that you're not going to make money certain ways and you're going to make it in other ways. I know that factually. You're going to hurt if you become a landlord. You're going to get hurt with renters, right? Especially in New York City, right? Where now they want a person can stay in your apartment for up to a year without paying rent, right? So that can happen, right? That's an investment loss, right? The mortgage and stuff like that. So do your research. Like Andre keeps reiterating, like we're reiterating, we are not that we're not financial advisors, but we're not the know-all, be-all financial advisors. That's somebody who is licensed, certified, that you go to the bank and have a conversation with. Not necessarily the bank, but a financial institution. Or you do it yourself, right? There are many people who have decided that they're going to buy and share their own stock because they're doing their own investment. There are people literally who quit their jobs and literally watch every day the stock market and do their own investment, because now you're learning how to do that, right? Learn to do what you're doing. learn to do it well. There are a number of topics. We only have a couple minutes that we want to talk about. The one thing, big thing, P. Diddy's in trouble, right? Man, he's in trouble. Another lawsuit. After that video came out with him kicking Cassie, he just had another lawsuit. He apologized for it, but I think the apology is.
It wasn't to her; it's to the audience.
Yeah, I don't think he's sorry, right? I don't think he's sorry. I think he's sorry he got caught.
Yeah,
Sorry, he got caught.
Denied.
You know, it's like I tell my students in class, "Are you really sorry that you were talking?" Because as soon as I tell you stop talking, focus on your work. I turn around, you start talking. You're sorry for the moment, right?
Okay.
Right.
And you know what she responded? She said that, she hoped more people would believe some of the victim when they say that they're abused. And it's true.
Yeah, it is. Another person
take a video and reliving what you experience over and over again for people to finally believe you.
You know what? Ironically, as we talk about mental health, right? Imagine what she has to live through again as the victim.
Yep, watching that over and over again. I wanted to say that earlier.
Every media outlet, right?
Mhm.
Every single one. CNN, which is seen by millions of people, right? But she has to own it, right? She has to own it, like become that advocate of. And I tell people all the time, most crimes don't happen from random strangers. Most crimes and most negative behaviors happen from people that you know. We hurt the people that we know the most, and not people that are strangers. Like we commit crimes within our own communities or within a short piece.
That's true. Also, like today, I was reading about 3 people who actually got indicted. They're going to be spending life in jail. A business partner that went wrong. One of the individuals was working. It was I can't remember, an Asian individual who had a partner. He went his separate ways, started his own business, and because of jealousy and anger about that, he asked his nephew to commit a crime, and his nephew actually hired people to kill him. He died in 2019, and they found all of them guilty. They'll be spending life. But was it worth it? Because you got upset. That's your competition now. So, like you just mentioned, some crimes is from people you know. So be careful who you have around you.
That's true. There's so many things happening. We got like 1 minute. Check it out. Check out things that are happening around you. Giuliani, he's now, they found him. They served him and his co-conspirators. They served him on his 80th birthday. They served him on his 80th birthday. The Trump was caught in a couple of lies.
But also this weekend to thank, and remember some of our veterans during this time. So it was a severe sacrifice, but they did it to fight for freedom.
Absolutely. Our bling bishop is going to jail.
He is in jail. He's not going to jail. He is in jail.
Okay. No, well, going to jail. Bling bishop being Lamar Whitehead. He was found guilty of stealing people's money. I hate bringing up things like that because it makes the church look bad a lot. When you have people who do things like this, that's why I don't like to go to churches where the pastors have $500 shoes. It's like I don't like Creflo Dollar and those other people with their own private planes, like you're using the money. Are you really preaching the word of God? Are you preaching? I don't like to go to church. I know a church needs money, right? Because it's a 501c3, and 501c3 are run on funding from its members. But when you ask, and you utilize church members. But anyway, let's we don't have any more time. But
so wait. I appreciate the mayor for acknowledging that the police department needs some more training on mental health.
Yes.
To end on that, we appreciate you, Mayor, for recognizing that and for possibly doing something about training police officers on, and that's something we mentioned a while ago. Some of the we need, instead of just going in with guns or anything, yeah, we need some as well.
I also want to give shout out to Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman for her advocacy, creating 988. So now we have 988, you know, some of the mental crisis, to do that call. There's so many things we want to talk about.
911, 988. Thank you.
988 for mental health, right? Mental health crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, don't hold it in. Let it out. Not because you're Caribbean. I know most of our audience is Caribbean. Don't hold it in. Let it out. Make that phone call. Talk to somebody. Talk to your kids. Find out how they're doing. I like to say, spend 15 real minutes a day. 15 real minutes a day with your children, with your family. I know what they're doing. Ask real questions, right? Know their mood changes. I thank you so much. I am Roger Daly. I am your host. My top left on my screen is Dr. Joanne Bryant, our co-hostess. To my top right is our executive producer, Andre Doman. To our co-host, John Sampson, and our producer, Sophia Willissey. We want to thank each and every one of our villagers, making sure that you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Go out, enjoy that, enjoy time with the family. I don't care what you do, but do something. Just don't stick around and continue doing the same thing because you're going to have the same results. Where we are dedicated to empowering the community. Thank you for watching, viewing, sharing, participating, being part of the village, where we are dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today, where success is not just spoken, it is done. God bless each and every one of you. Happy birthday to all of my Gemini people, to Shora, Tony, Tashara, Tony, Glenroy, all of you. Happy birthdays. It ain't your birthday yet. It's all the way in June. And so it's my son's birthday. So forget all you.
All right, then.
All right, family. See you all next week. Peace.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
And do your homework.